Hello, hello, and welcome. Good evening. This is your boy, Mr. Opinionated, coming to you this evening to talk just a little bit about a poem, something that I posted. It's called They Walked Away. It's one of my favorite poems, and I thought that I had listed it in one of the books that I've written, but it was obviously a free write. So I want to come to you talking on something called The Talking Tour. I talked about this many years ago, around the time I believe when I wrote my second book, and I was going to talk about poems, and I was going to talk about the motivation behind them and things of that nature. Didn't quite do it then, but I feel like, hey, it's a wonderful time to do it now. I loved writing the content. I love writing poems. I'm not a spoken word artist, but I do love to share poetry and things of that nature. So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about They Walked Away. I do know earlier I also talked about, had anybody been ghosted? Or are you familiar with the term ghosted? Have you ever felt some kind of way about someone leaving your life, whether that be living or dead, and it made you feel some kind of way, and it's like they kind of walked away? Many of us have experienced times when people have passed away. We did not get those moments to talk to them, to say our last goodbyes and things of that nature. And a lot of us have been ghosted, meaning you may have been talking to somebody, may have been something romantic, you may have been dating, and they just kind of vanished for air, into thin air. It could be a friend or something like that, and something happened where they just disappeared and you never talked again. That's called ghosting. So I'm going to go into the poem. We're going to read it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Then I'm going to hop off. Okay, so of course we have our sponsor for this evening. And of course our sponsor is going to be hashtag Capture Love. Of course, it's giving you the design backwards, but hashtag Capture Love. That is tonight's sponsor. And many of you that know me know what Capture Love is. It is a campaign that I created to share positive imagery and videos, share something that's wonderful, that symbolizes love, hashtag it, Capture Love, share it on social media, and of course, tag us on the Capture Love page. Okay, so let's get into this poem. And I'm reading from my phone because once again, I thought that this was in one of my books. However, it is not. So that means it was a free write. Sometimes I free write. Sometimes things are pre-planned. And sometimes, I see things, I may talk to somebody, and I get motivated to write. It can be something that I'm going through. It can be something that somebody has shared with me. All of my content in my books and my free writes are not necessarily about me. They're inspired by something that has happened in my life. They're inspired by something that has happened in the lives of people that I know. So I'm going to read the poem. I posted it with a picture of me at the beach. They walked away without even saying goodbye. Left you to deal with your emotions and many tears to cry. Didn't think of how you would go on. Didn't even leave a Dear John letter so that you could go on. Hold on, sorry. You felt abandoned, defeated, depleted because you poured your heart out. Now you want to scream because all you get is emptiness when you call out. All you have are portraits burned and etched in your brain called memories. You ask yourself, how could I slip up and give them the best of me? You feel like California in a time of drought, locked in prison, solitary confinement, and can't get out. They walked away. Left you in an orphanage among everyone else that no one wanted. You no longer feel special, blessed, gifted, or flaunted. You feel like you've melted into the pot with all of the ingredients of the world. Your thoughts of confidence now betray you because they've turned into questions of, am I good enough? Where did I mess up? Maybe I should just give up. They walked away. Like it was okay. Like they had no memories. Like it was nothing special. Like it was just a blip on the screen. Emotionally uncommitted. Like a child of God with no commitment. You now nurse a bucket of tears, a pocket full of fears, because you don't know what you'll do next. They walked away. So, they walked away. Just like I said, I don't specifically know where this came from, but I know that all of us have experienced people walking away in many different forms. So let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning. They walked away without even saying goodbye. When people leave and don't say goodbye, sometimes it creates a situation where we want closure. Oftentimes there are things that we don't say to each other. We don't tell people we love you enough. Some of us are not comfortable in saying that. And a lot of times when someone leaves or they pass away, we have these feelings of emptiness because we did not really say what we wanted to say to them. So it's like we didn't even get to say goodbye. Saying goodbye is very important. So it's important to say goodbye. It's important to say good journey. When you're leaving somebody's life, excuse me, even if it's a chaotic situation, saying goodbye, saying, you know what, this is not for me, it's time to close this chapter is important. So they walked away without saying goodbye. It's important to say goodbye. Left you to deal with your emotions and many tears to cry. Someone absence sometimes makes us sad. There's a saying that goes, absence makes the heart fun. Sometimes it makes it sad when people leave without an explanation, without telling us, without us getting closure. It leaves us in a situation where we are in pain and we are in anguish and we have tears. So sometimes there are many tears to cry. Sometimes we don't know if we can go on. It creates anxiety, it creates fear, and we're just in a position where we don't know, like, how am I going to do this without this person? A lot of you have had big mamas in the family, you've had big daddies in the family, patriarchs and matriarchs, and they leave, or you have these staples in your family that kind of hold things together. And when they leave, and especially if they're not able to say goodbye, you are left feeling like, oh my gosh, who is going to hold it together? What's going to go on? Who's going to do it? And you don't know how you're going to go on. Didn't even leave you a Dear John letter so that you could hold on. There was a series, I believe it was on NBC years ago, called Dear John. And Dear John letters are basically someone telling you, leaving you a letter, you know what? I'm leaving, I'm changing my life, the relationship is over, and it's kind of like closure. So this person in this poem, you know, they left you. They didn't even leave us. They basically just broke up with you. They ended the chapter. They didn't even leave you a Dear John letter. So here you go, a chapter ending, and there is no explanation. So didn't even leave you with a letter. Didn't even leave you with anything to hold on to as a reminder of them. You felt abandoned, defeated, depleted, because you poured your heart out. A lot of times we pour our hearts out into relationships. We pour our hearts out into works. And when things end abruptly, it creates chaos in our life. We feel defeated. We feel defeated when things don't work out. We feel depleted because we've poured ourselves into something or someone. How many people can identify with saying, you know what, this relationship that I was in, this dating scenario, I just poured myself into it. I gave it my all. I was there for them all the time. I catered to them. I assisted them. I helped them. I gave them 110%. And then it just ended abruptly. And I felt depleted because I poured myself out like a drink offering. A lot of times we do. And when it ends, we just feel empty. So that's what that part of the poem is about. It says, now you want to scream because all you get is emptiness when you call out. And many of you may have experienced, like when somebody leaves and you're calling that person, you know, I wish mom was there anymore, and I'm calling mama, I'm calling father, I'm calling brother, I'm calling sister. I'm saying, why did you leave me? So all you can do is kind of scream into emptiness because they've passed into this different realm. And depending on what you believe in regards to communicating with people that have passed to a different realm, I personally don't believe that you can communicate with people because I believe the communication would be constant all the time if once you left, you could. So some people believe that. So people feel like they're talking into emptiness and they're talking into space and they're screaming and they are really wanting a reply back and they never get that. And once again, that creates pain and anguish. All you have are portraits burned and etched in your brain called memories. Now, this is why I tell people to take as many pictures as you can, many photographs, because at the end of the day, when somebody leaves, when they pass on, when a relationship ends, when a friendship ends, all you have is those pictures. All you have is those memories. Now, if you don't have physical pictures, you have them etched in your brain. You can kind of close your eyes and you can kind of see people. You can hear their voice, and all you have sometimes is those memories etched and burned in your brain. Kind of like, and of course I use burn because, if you've done art where you kind of burn the art into wood, those memories are there. They are etched, and sometimes they create happiness, sometimes they create sadness. But when they walk away, that is all you have a lot of times. You ask yourself, how could I slip up and give them the best of me? Now, this is when you're questioning yourself, when you feel like you've given so much and you've gotten, you don't have anything in return and they've left you, and you're questioning yourself. Did I give them too much? Did I leave myself open too much? Was I too vulnerable? And you said you've given yourself. Did I? You're questioning. I gave them the best of me. How could I slip up? How could I let my guard down? How could I be this person that I wasn't? How could I this tough bravado, whatever I had? How could I slip up? So you're questioning, second guessing yourself of whether you should have trusted them, whether you should have opened up. Why? Because they walked away. And if I was giving my best to them, they wouldn't have walked away. So you're in a state of questioning yourself. You feel like California in a time of drought. I don't know if many of you have been to California. I have never been to California, but we've seen the fires when it gets so hot and stuff just starts to burn up, and those places where they have drought watch, and people can't water their grass, and they can't do this and they can't do that, and they're told to ration off water. It kind of feels like when somebody walks away, like you're in a time of drought, like you're thirsty for attention, thirsty for love, and locked in prison, solitary confinement, and can't get out. Sometimes we mentally get in places where we feel like we're locked up, alone. And I've never been in prison. I've never been in solitary confinement. But can you close your eyes and imagine for a moment that you are in a small space that you cannot get out? When they walk away, sometimes you feel like you're in solitary confinement. You're in prison. You don't know what to do. You feel alone. A lot of people suffer from loneliness, and they just feel alone sometimes when people walk away, especially if that person was very, very special to them. They walk away. They walked away, left you in an orphanage among everyone else that no one wanted. I've never been in an orphanage. I do know people who have been turned over to the state or, have grown up in that situation, and you feel like nobody wants you. When someone walks away from you, especially if it's like a breakup or something, and you just thought that it was healthy and you thought it was flourishing, and it's like they left you in an orphanage. They left you, and you feel like unwanted. It's like, why doesn't anybody want me? Like, what did I do to mess up? Why doesn't anybody want me? And again, you're in a state of questioning yourself again, but they left you and they walked away. You no longer feel special, blessed, gifted, or flaunted. It's like when somebody is attached to you and somebody is saying, oh, I love you, and somebody is pouring into you, you feel these things. You feel special. You feel like, oh, I'm blessed to have this person in my life, or people. You feel gifted. And who doesn't want to be flaunted? Who doesn't want to be walked around and say, you know what, this is my boo, or this is my brother, this is my sister, this is somebody that is very special to me. In this poem, they have this, when they walked away, all of these feelings left. Sometimes when people leave our lives, we no longer feel important. We no longer feel blessed. We no longer feel special because we've heavily invested ourselves into these relationships. You feel like you've melted into a pot with all of the ingredients of the world. Now they say the United States is the melting pot. Now what I meant with that is like when you don't feel special, when you're just melting kind of like together with the ingredients and you're not standing out and you don't feel like there's anything in particular or anything special about you. So you just kind of, they walk away, you just feel like, dang, there was nothing special about me. There was nothing that set me apart. There was nothing that made me different. I'm kind of like melted into a melting pot with anybody else. And you just feel like they walked away. There's nothing unique about me. There's nothing beautiful about me. There's nothing that will make you hold on to me. They walked away. Your thoughts of confidence now betray you because they've turned into questions of, am I good enough? A lot, that's question self-esteem. You know how, especially in this day and age, we're taught, we're taught to say, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful, I'm unique, I'm this and I'm that. But when somebody walks away and we're thinking that we're doing our best and we're thinking that we all that, and they make us question ourselves once again. It's like, dang, I ain't all that in a bag of chips, because if I was, they wouldn't have walked away. You say, where did I mess up? Maybe I should just give up. We think that I had to do something. A lot of times people are in situations where they say, I had to do something. I had to mess up, because if I didn't do anything, they would have never left me. Or if I didn't do, it had to be my fault. And a lot of times it's not your fault. It's them. But you feel that you had to have done something to make them mad, to make them upset, to make them angry, to make them walk away from you. I had to do something, because why would they leave me? They walked away. They walked away like it was okay, like they had no memory. So basically it's like all the things that we've done together, all the times that we've spent, all the times that we've talked, all the activities that we have participated in, it's like they walked away. It's like they didn't have any memories. They didn't have, nothing was etched or burned in their brain. They could just walk away from me, and it was not special to them. So it was like I was nothing. And then in that next line, it says like it was nothing special, like it was just a blip on a screen. And you've seen the screen where you're like a little blip and it's here and it's gone. And you're feeling like if you're special, that you're not just a blip on a screen. You're not just a 30-second commercial. You want to be like a series or a long-running show. So it's like they walked away like you were just a blip on a screen. They were emotionally uncommitted. Some people just cannot commit to you emotionally. And some people will tell you that. They're like, okay, this is all physical. I can't commit to you. I can't fall in love with you. I ain't going to do that. So in this poem, it's like the question itself, it's like they walked away like they were just emotionally uncommitted to me, like it was nothing special. They were not vested in a relationship. They were not vested in a friendship. They were not vested in what it was, because it does not always have to be a romantic encounter. It could be friends. But when people walk away, it just feels like with nothing, like no dear John letter, like they were emotionally uncommitted, like they did not commit to the relationship. And when something ends like that, it was like, was it really nothing? Was there anything there? But they just walked away like a child of God with no commitment. And if you believe in a higher power, it's like, just think of yourself. Think of you following God and you're not committed. What does that look like? Any doctrine will blow you or throw you here or there. It's like, so there's no commitment. So you were not committed to our relationship. You were not committed to our friendship. You just walked away. They walked away. You now nurse a bucket full of tears. And you know how big, depending on how big the bucket is, it can be like a small bucket, it can be a large bucket. But they've walked away, and this is what you're left with. You're left by yourself to nurse your wounds, to cry your tears, to agonize, to try to heal from them walking away. This is all they left you with. A pocket full of fears, because you don't know what you'll do next. Sometimes we don't know. It's like this tragic thing has happened. My marriage is over. The friendship is over. It's been 15, 20 years. and it's over. Like, what am I going to do next? I'm left crying, and I'm left wondering what I'm going to do next. What's my next move? Am I going to fall in love again? Is my heart going to turn cold? Is it going to turn into stone so that I can't love again? What am I going to do next? They walked away. So that is the talk that I wanted to do this evening. I think I'm going to brand these videos the Talking Tour, because I wanted to use that a while ago. And I'll be sharing some of my poetry because I have 3 projects. And what I always say is that, you know what, we as writers and as creative people, like we're always creating, and especially like back in the day when they created albums and things, full-length albums and not just buzz singles. It was like we often don't share the entire project. It's kind of like we release singles and that's it, and then we move on to the next project. So I encourage you that if you're a writer, that if you're a creative, that you take the opportunity to share the entire project. You talk about it. You don't always have to rush to the next thing. You need to savor it a little bit. You need to talk about it. And on that note, I will share the 3 projects that I will be using from the Talking Tours, in addition to some free writes that are not in there. I have 3 books. This first book was called Moods and Moments. It was written a while ago. It is 2023. And of course, the copyright 2011. So I wrote this in I published it in 2011. So I'll be sharing works from Moods and Moments on the Talking Tour. In addition, my second one, which is, I think this is kind of more, it's more personal. To me, it's a little bit more in depth. It's called Memoirs from the Heart. And this one I wrote in 2016. So I will be sharing works from this, Memoirs from the Heart, on the Talking Tours. And finally, and this is my pandemic baby, it's called Perspective. Now, this book was published in 2020, so this is my pandemic baby. So I have 3 projects that I will be sharing and talking about on a series of videos called The Talking Tour. I hope you will go along with me. I hope you will hop in and comment and share the videos, because I have a lot to talk about. They cover a range of different emotions and different events. And like I said, they're not only things that I have went through personally, but they are things that other people have went through. They're observations, and they come from all walks of life. So thank you so much for tuning in. I see Dorian R. Davis Jr. Thank you for watching. If this video touched you, if it meant anything, if anything that I said resonated with you, please share it. You can follow me on all social media at Mr. Opinionated. And once again, this broadcast is brought to you by Capture Love, which is a positive social media movement that I started, which basically encourages people to share positive pictures and videos with the hashtag Capture Love. And finally, I'll end on this note. My friend bought me this journal, and I'll read it. Of course, it's backward, but I'll read what it says. It says, life is short. Break the rules. Give love. Laugh lots. Never regret the things that make you smile. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. These are the Talking Tours, and my name is Mr. Opinionated. Good night, and have a good one.